Knesset member Ohad Tal, shalom.
Shalom, Yoni.
Chairman of the Religious Zionist Faction in the Knesset. You recently returned from a visit to the U.S. During this visit, you met the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi. First of all, how do you see his status in this whole issue of what's going on in Iran?
So a lot of hope, I would say. And people have to understand that the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, if he will actually take the control over Iran, that's a radical change, not just for Israel, but for the Middle East, for the world, because he is a person that can really take Iran from a radical, fundamentalist Islamist country who funds terror, the biggest export of terror worldwide, to a situation that Iran will be a secular democracy. And he's the best friend of Israel. He loves Israel not 80%, 100%. Mm-hmm. And that will create a new alliance in the region between Iran and Israel. Actually, it will go back to be a beautiful alliance between Israel and Iran, as it used to be before the revolution, 1979. So what I've seen from him is a lot of hope that this change can actually happen. And I also want to tell that before the last demonstrations, we didn't know if he has a lot of support, because we knew that he has support among exiled Iranians
around the world,
but not so much within Iran. And what we've seen during the demonstrations is that actually there's a lot of support, because the people who were demonstrating were chanting his name time and again throughout the demonstration. And when he told them, go out tonight at 8 o'clock to this place and that place, everybody listened to him. And I think that's brings us a lot of hope also.
Now, how long ago did you meet him?
So that was during the demonstrations. I would say it was about 3.5 weeks ago.
Exactly. So it's been some time, and you know the promise, Trump's promise, help is on the way,
right, was
back then. And now there's a disappointment. There's feelings that maybe we're on our own.
So I think, and we've heard Senator Lindsey Graham speaking about it countless times, that the president has promised that help is on the way, and so help has to come. At the end of the day, also we have to understand that if we really want to achieve the goal of toppling down the regime, we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared here in Israel. We have to be prepared in terms of enough plans and army forces, American army forces within the region that can actually achieve the goal of toppling the regime. And it's not so easy, because the regime, they've built a very significant infrastructure in Iran. It's not just that if you will take down Khamenei, you will take down the regime. It's much more complicated than that. And as the president said only yesterday, the regime change, that's the best outcome that can come from what we're seeing now in Iran.
Now, as you visit the U.S., you also speak to many officials in the administration. What can you tell us about the status today of the support for Israel?
So I think today many members of Congress and Senate coming to realize that despite, and we're all seeing the campaigns, even within the Republican camp in America, we all see what Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and all these people trying to sabotage and to destroy the Israel-U.S. relations. And we are seeing the conflict in the Republican camp, and of course in the Democrat camp it's much easier. But we are seeing that, and yet I think there's a growing support for Israel's position, especially because of what is now happening with Iran. Because as Lindsey Graham said it himself a couple of times, we are seeing that the natural allies of America, Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Gulf countries, now putting pressure on America not to strike in Iran. Why? Because it served their immediate interests, and they don't think about the global interests and the interests of America. And when close allies do not take America's interest in consideration, that creates a lot of frustration among many officials in America, and they see that Israel is always with them. So I think that makes the Israel-U.S. relations much, much stronger.
But the isolationists, the radical isolationists, they have their effect.
Of course they do. Of course they do, especially among the younger generation in America. Again, even among the conservative, Republican, even I would say Christian crowd, definitely. But as much as that becomes more and more crazy, and it does, I think more people coming to realize that it's too much. Because at the end of the day, America first cannot be America alone. And also people has to understand that the aid that Israel gets from America, it's not charity. Israel provides the U.S. With more actionable intelligence than all NATO countries combined. Okay, that saves American lives each and every day. That saves a lot of money. You know, one of the top generals in America said recently that if America had to produce all this intelligence on its own, they had to create 5 CIAs. Now, the annual budget of the CIA is $15 billion a year. So that saves a lot of money and it saves a lot of American lives. Not to mention Israeli technologies like Iron Dome and others who are manufactured in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs and enhancing America's security systems, and so many other examples to show that Israel is not just an ally to America. It's the most cost-effective ally America has in the world.
Now, last but not least, during your visits to the U.S., you also, of course, meet representatives of the Jewish community, and there is the value of Aliyah, calling Jews to come home to Israel. But it's also about strengthening the communities, strengthening the identity, Jewish identity,
right,
in the U.S., around America, around the world. It's a challenge. It's a serious challenge.
It's a serious challenge because we are seeing growing number of Jews disconnecting from their identity, disconnecting from their communities. We all, it's not just in the liberal communities, also within the conservative communities, the Orthodox communities, the ultra-Orthodox communities. We are seeing that the younger generation doesn't want to take active role in leading the community in the future, and that's a huge challenge. We have to strengthen Jewish education in the diaspora communities. I can tell you that we are now trying to work with several philanthropists to create a massive, massive project. And we're talking, because we have to have big money here, a new cooperation between the Israeli government and philanthropists from the world to put big money in sending kids to Jewish day schools. That's extremely important because that creates the next generation of Jews who are connected to their identity and connected to Israel.
Let's continue, of course, with what's happening here in Israel. We are in days which many define as post-war. We have many challenges, of course. We spoke about a few of them now with Iran, of course. The missions of the Religious Zionist Party these days are complex, and there's a variety of missions, also holding on to the right-wing government. And the issue of drafting haredim to the army, there's, of course, a very, very specific and unique angle that the religious Zionist community and the party take. What can you tell us about your challenges these days?
Many challenges, because we are trying to take as much as we can from every day of this government, and we are creating a whole revolution in Judea and Samaria to change. After 30 years of Oslo and what we've seen, the policies, the wrong policies that brought us October 7th, what we are trying to do, and this is what we're doing actually in the past 3 years, is to reverse that completely and to change the policies, recognizing tens of thousands of dunams in Yehuda v'Shomron as a state land, recognizing and building 69 new communities, new yeshuvim in Yehuda v'Shomron, authorizing tens of thousands of housing units in Yehuda v'Shomron. And this is not just, it doesn't serve only the benefit of the settlers. That creates a whole perception, security perception in the army, in the government. It will protect and it will prevent the next October 7th from happening ever in other places in Israel.
Now, regarding the haredim, do you have your vision, your hope that things could change, but it's the right way?
I believe that we are very close to really change that. It has to be done in a very delicate way. But all our family members, all my friends, all my staff members are in endless cycles of reserve, of miluim in the past 3 years. We have to change that. But the way to do that is not by condemning the Haredim day and night or sanctioning them. It's to work to create a bill, to introduce this bill, which I hope will get the support also of the Haredim. But by the way, part of our condition is that it will get the support of the Haredim with sanctions against people who will get subpoenaed and will not join, and they will have to vote for it. Together, that will come with a government plan to build more Hester Yeshivot for Haredim and pre-military academies, and to create this process that will bring thousands of Haredim to the army, but also to create another pillar of drafting Haredim at the later on age, after 2023, after they getting married. I believe we can bring thousands of Haredim directly to reserve, to release others who are paying the price now, who are carrying this on their shoulders, to release them, to bring thousands more Haredim into the army, to these units, and I think we can definitely have a revolution. It takes patience. Nothing, just as much as we don't have sovereignty over all the land tomorrow morning, as much as this is what we want to achieve, everything has to be done in a process. This is what we're trying to do here, in sovereignty, in security, in the war issues, also with the Haredim.
Now, another thing that maybe our viewers abroad aren't familiar with, but it's very, very interesting, a special reform in the dairy industry. Tell us about why this is so important. And some are saying this may harm the farmers of Israel.
So, we are the number one advocates for hityashvut, for farmers in Israel. We understand what Zionism is all about and that you have to settle the land in order to promote Zionism. But the way to do it is not by allowing small group of people deciding. I don't know if you understand, Yoni, what the absurd, because today in Israel, if you want to milk a cow and you don't have a license for that, that's a criminal, that's a felony that you can go for jail for. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. I want to open the market so that every person who wants to be a farmer can be a farmer, and nobody will limit him on how much milk he can produce. Today, that's the reality. The reality is that there's a small group of people who decides who's going to be a farmer, who's not going to be a farmer.
But you will bring in import, which will also change.
Of course, also, right, because the reality in which people in Israel go to supermarkets day after day and seeing empty milk shelf doesn't make any sense. That has to end. They don't have to pay for that so much money. We have to make sure that we will provide everybody with milk and dairy products, and to also support the farmers directly.
Right, there will be compensations, right?
Of course, we will support the farmers directly, not through keeping this mechanism maybe it was relevant when we established this country. It's not relevant anymore. We have to change that to reduce the cost of living in Israel, to make sure that every person in Israel can buy dairy products, and that's not less Zionism than building another farm or another community.
Okay, Knesset member Ohad Tal, thank you very much for joining us.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.